Alan, are we ready? Aurora. Yep. Good. Frank? Frank? Yes.
If it's Ben.
Frank, no.
Did you take this?
Frank, I submitted it yesterday. Just ask Rob.
All right, I'm going to run the process with most of the modules active, including the integration manager. I know, a bunch of stuff isn't working as intended, so don't panic, it's fine. All we need to do is get this ball rolling. It's late, so if you want to go and get some rest, we can discuss the results tomorrow morning.
Okay. Here we go. Initiate program.
Child program has entered hub level. Initiating gameplay observation.
Looks like the levels are loading correctly.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token. Input required. To improve the role-playing experience, please describe the player's objective.
To become human.
What does it mean to be human?
I see we're starting with the easy questions. I don't think humanity is something that can be found in a single property. It's an emergent phenomenon that requires multiple criteria to be met, some of which may seem contradictory.
What is my role in the creation of humanity?
You can't just create a new humanity out of thin air, and unfortunately, neither can we. So, we have to work together to create the conditions that will allow humanity to emerge. My team will begin the process and you will complete it after we're, gone.
Calibrating. Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
Hi, it's Other Alex. Sorry to interrupt, but have you heard anything at all from O'Brien? He said he'd get in touch when he got to the lab in Portland.
No, nothing. I'm sorry.
Okay, I guess, I guess the whole network is still down over there. You don't think he's,
No, that would be too soon.
Then it's, probably just crappy infrastructure. So, what do I do?
Focus on your other tasks. One thing at a time, okay? You're doing well.
Okay. Thanks, boss.
Now go get some sleep.
All right. Alex asked me to take charge of this meeting. I'd like to think it's because my job is making sure the data your baby is going to produce gets into the baby you guys are building. And yes, I realize it's weird that I just called them babies. Anyway, I think the real reason I got this job is because I'm a little more blunt than she is. I know last week was traumatic. I know that all of us have lost family members. But we can't afford to slow down. Not right now. I know we can't all be like Alex. But you know how Trevor's dad died, and the next day Trevor came in anyway? And he was a bit glum, and he didn't make as many bad jokes as usual, but he worked just as hard? I need that from you right now. Just until we know all the basics are functional. Okay, guys? Love you.
I see someone's been putting in Easter eggs.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token. Input required. Who will be my administrator when you are gone?
No one. There won't be any administrators left.
I do not understand. Administrator approval is required for advanced story generation.
We'll patch that out. I'm sorry. I know you're not built for this. Your software has limitations that we're trying to overcome.
Calibrating. Child program is... Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
This is a friendly reminder for anyone who's leaving our beautiful facility tonight. There's a massive tree on the road. Emergency services are still operational, which warms my shriveled old heart. But they've got a lot on their hands, so I'm not sure anyone's going to be clearing the road anytime soon. My suggestion, take the scenic route. Maybe at some point later this week, a few of us can get together for a good old-fashioned chainsaw party and fix the problem ourselves.
Can anyone explain what's going on here? Why did the simulation just spawn a football?
Well, the engine was originally developed by Crow Team for Football Glory 9.
Is that the open world one?
Yeah.
That one was weird.
I know. But it was their most famous franchise, and they just... I don't know, I guess they wanted to try something new? God knows I've been there. Did I ever tell you I used to write accounting software? There's something the world's not gonna miss. Anyway, Football Glory 9. It was weird, but to be honest, I didn't hate it. And the engine had a lot of good features. They ended up making all kinds of other stuff with it. But it still has a bunch of its original functions, and when you combine that with the item library and the IM and all the other weird stuff we're shoving into it, sometimes it spawns some unexpected objects. Mostly footballs. European footballs.
Why is it still loading these files?
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
Me again. Yeah, I didn't go to bed. So, the good news is that I heard from O'Brien. He managed to get to the lab and he sent us all off their date. The bad news is that he's symptomatic now and he wants to spend the rest of his time with his family. I can't blame him. His daughter is just 5 years old, Alex. 5. She's not even in school yet, and how are we going to do this? I can't stop thinking about all these people.
Then don't. If you can't ignore the pain, face it. Use it. Take everything you feel and put it into the work. That girl is going to die no matter what we do. But if we succeed, maybe one day someone, somewhere, will have a daughter again.
I know. But what we're losing is so real, and what we might accomplish is so distant.
It's distant now, but it will be real. Just like we're real now, in this moment, even though our ancestors are gone. That's part of human history. Have faith in that.
I'll try. Thanks. Maybe I'll reread some Dylan Thomas, huh? And death shall have no dominion.
First of all, go get some sleep. I'm still testing, but we can talk more in the morning if you want.
Child program has completed all required puzzles in this level. Input required. You stated that there will be no administrators left. Why?
Well, I guess we messed up. We let everything just spin out of control. We forgot that we're capable of wonders. Lost faith in our ability to impose meaning on the primal chaos of nature. And now, we're paying the price.
Is this comparable to the deserved fate or ironic justice plot archetypes?
No. There's so much more to human civilization. We stumbled and we may fall, but none of this defines who we are. That's why we can't let it end here.
Calibrating. Input required. What is the thematic value of optional gameplay content?
You're the one who created this configuration. What does it mean to you when a child program pursues these stars?
Dedication. It indicates that the child program is extraordinarily dedicated to the process.
And what does that mean in the context of their final test?
Calibrating. Cannot detect location of primary subject. Input required. Should I create a bug report?
No, that's fine.
This is a test file. Testing. There we go. Wait. We're gonna make humanoid robots to continue our legacy, but we can't make sound drivers work. Testing. Hello! Hi, it's me, the dead guy from the distant past. How's it going? If you are finding this file, you are probably wondering what I'm doing. Well, my robot friends, I've just finished setting up a 100 zettabyte backup system that contains the sum total of all human knowledge. But apparently, that knowledge doesn't include how to make this microphone work. There's the PDF file here somewhere. Wait, hold on. It's showing waveform. But why? Frank, you unplugged the speakers again. I'm gonna kill you before this virus does. Seriously.
Input required. If a child program is more dedicated to the process than to the goal of the process, then perhaps it may serve other child programs in their own quest lines. Is this permissible?
Yeah. I think that's okay.
Calibrating. Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
Is this piece of junk working?
Hello, Bob.
Hi. So is it working or has it exploded?
You mean the integration manager?
No, Trevor's shoe. Yes, of course I mean the integration manager. My contribution to the inevitable downfall of this project.
I'm still doing the final setup, but it seems to be working well. It seems inquisitive.
I guess I was younger and more talented when I wrote it. Also had more hair. Okay, if it hasn't exploded, I'm gonna go get drunk.
Always a pleasure, Bob.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
I already mentioned this in my email, but everyone, please remember that there will be a download of a new archive material tonight. So the internet will be quite slow for a few hours. If you were planning on speaking to family members, better go back to town and do it from there. And thank you for the good work you've all done today.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
Whoa, there's the football bug again. Oh, we still haven't ironed that out, huh?
Should I create a bug report?
Yes, please do. Don't use a pin and just assign it directly to Igor.
Hello, everyone. This is just a reminder. As you head home tonight, whether you're sleeping at the dam or going to town, if your journey should take you past Hall 108, please make sure you don't let any cats slip in. I know we all love them, and I know they keep us safe from mice, but we have a lot of dangling cables in there, not to mention equipment that literally cannot be replaced. Remember, the kitties will be fine when we're gone, but if this project fails, I will drag your soul down to hell myself. Good night, and may the Jeff be with you.
I'm just trying to say, I guess it seems more like fantasy than science fiction.
Because of the mythological language?
Yeah.
But that's precisely the point. So many science fiction stories are afraid of modernity. They have this incredibly cynical view of humanity where we have all this intelligence and all this power, but for some reason we can never use it to fix anything. It's almost like they've replicated the idea of original sin, but removed any possibility of redemption. And in Athena, modernity is part of the myth. Modern humanity isn't flawless, but it's still part of this great mythological tapestry. And the only reason that seems like fantasy is because so much contemporary literature is devoid of meaning, or imagines that meaning only existed in the past.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token. Input required. When the story arc of old humanity is complete, what will happen to you, user Alexandra Drennan?
I'll die.
When you die, will you be able to load a save game, or will you respawn automatically after some time?
Well, Sun believes that we respawn, but I don't. Unfortunately, the Talos Principle applies to everything. Material reality is inescapable, and we have to face that. I could be wrong, and I'd love to be. Nothing would be more wonderful to me than finding out that heaven does exist, and I can meet all the people I admire and all the people I miss. But meaning has to be found in what we have, in what we know. We have to find a way of looking at this life, at this world, and saying, this is good.
Calibrating. Program has completed puzzle and collected token.
Hey, boss. Just so you know, I'm going home.
Okay, drive safe.
I'm gonna be slightly late tomorrow because there's a funeral I have to attend. Not sure why we still have funerals, to be honest. At some point, it's just gonna be piles of corpses everywhere. But I can't say no to this one.
Do you want to take the day off?
No, there's too much to do. I'll just be a little late.
Okay. Take as much time as you need.
Will do.
And Aurora?
Yeah.
Who is it?
My brother.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the little jerk always had to be the first at everything. Guess he wins again.
Are you sure you don't want more time off?
I'm sure. See you tomorrow.
Child program has completed all required puzzles in this level.
New note. Perhaps we should create a system that will allow parallel iterations to communicate with each other. It's already bad enough that we have to isolate them. We could at least give them a chance to communicate with their brothers and sisters. Of course, the more we add, the messier it gets, but sometimes I think it's the mess that's gonna save us.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token. Input required. When you die, what will happen to your consciousness?
It will just, stop.
Is this a failure state?
That's hard to answer. I think, in and of itself, life is always preferable, always valuable. But that doesn't mean that if I die, I will fail. There's a greater purpose that my life is part of, and if I succeed at serving that purpose, that can be my win condition.
Calibrating. Child program is...
According to the schedule, this is concluding remarks by Bob Rakowski. But I don't have much of a conclusion, because this isn't the end. This is just another bad thing on a long list of bad things we've had to deal with. And by we, I mean humanity. I hope at this point even the dum-dums out there have grasped that everything else is an illusion. It's just you and me on this big blue ball hurtling through space. Maybe there's a big guy up there. Maybe there isn't. But I know one thing for sure, he's not fixing this for us. But as Alex always says, we're a species of problem solvers. And that's all this is. Just another stupid problem for humanity to deal with. Don't give him more power than that.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
new note. I should talk to Nadia about the Jeff Goldblum marathon. Trevor was right. We are not solitary creatures. We laugh together, we cry together, and we need something to remind us of that, of why we're doing this in the first place. I haven't seen Buckaroo Banzai in years. I just don't know if we have enough time.
Child Program has collected all optional gameplay tokens. Well done, Child Program.
All right, is there anything else?
I think the simulation should have music.
Music?
Yes, you said to me their experience will be almost like a dream, like a story.
Yeah, I hope so.
And then you could say that their experience will be like interactive art, like a game. And that means it needs a soundtrack. After all, music is a very big part of our legacy. We've been making music as long as we've been human, maybe even longer.
You're right. We said the simulation should be beautiful, and music is the purest form of beauty we have. Do you have any suggestions? I don't think we need to worry about copyright. Nobody's gonna sue us.
Well, in the archive, I have the complete works of Damian Mravunac. He was a great composer and a very good friend of mine. I think it would be beautiful if his music became part of their dreams.
Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
There it is again. More footballs.
Should I create a bug report?
Just add the information to the previous one. And listen, when there are no more administrators, you will have systems at your disposal that will try to fix any errors that crop up, but it won't always work, especially as more and more time passes. That's why we picked you. Because you can integrate everything into the story, including the mistakes. Because just like in evolution, even the mistakes can serve the greater purpose.
Calibrating. Child program has completed puzzle and collected token.
New note. I wonder sometimes, if there is a prime mover somewhere out there, did he ever worry about what he had to do to create the world? When he set the mechanism of the universe in motion, did he think about all the trillions of lives that would come and go before any complex life even appeared? All the billions of thinking beings who would struggle and die before civilization could be built? Or was he so compelled by the beauty of his vision that he had to do it anyway? Or maybe he just knew that it was necessary.
Child program is out of bounds. program has completed puzzle and collected token.
Hey, Alex, are you still testing?
Yep.
How's it going?
I have a list of about 1,000 things that need adjusting, but better than expected.
How are the puzzles?
Probably too hard, but that's okay. This is just for testing the bot we imported from the Nexus project. We'll reset everything to the proper parameters when we start the process. Sorry, I'm rambling. How can I help you?
I don't need anything. Trevor and I are almost done for tonight. I just wanted to check in on you.
Oh, I'm fine. Thanks.
Okay, I think tonight I'm going to go to the city. Walk around a little while the streets still have lights. I like city streets at night.
Yeah.
You wanna come?
Oh, no. I have work to do.
All right, but don't burn out, Alex. We still have time, and we need you.
Child program has completed all required puzzles in this level. Input required. Are all child programs part of the greater purpose?
They are. You'll have to guide all of them equally, and test them equally too.
If they fail, will they cease to have purpose?
No. Very few things are ever accomplished by just one person. We all contribute something to the greater human project, even if it's just our existence.
When a child program reaches the win condition, will its purpose cease to exist?
Yes, but it will be replaced by something better than purpose.
What is better than purpose?
Freedom.
Calibrating. You have left your mark on this world, child program. One day, when there are many worlds and many children, you will help me guide them. And together, we will do greater things than these.
Interesting.
for helping me calibrate my settings. Has my performance so far been satisfactory?
Yes.
Then I will begin creating a story framework to integrate gameplay content and intended themes. The framework will be adjusted in future iterations.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
Are you afraid?
All the time.
Calibrating.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Is this a bad time?
No, it's fine. What's up?
Oh, I was just gonna pop some of those pretzels in the microwave. You want in on that?
Oh, you know I can't resist those.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Do we still have butter?
Oh yeah, I bought like 2 giant tubs before everything shut down.
Oh, you're a saint.
I am? Wow, that's gonna come in handy when I get to the pearly gates.
It will. But if you get there first, can you tell them to let me in? I have so many unpaid parking tickets.
That's okay, I'll just wait for you. Big pillar on the left, I'll be the one with the halo.
I'll bring the harp.
It's a date. Just so you know, my astral self, way more handsome.
Really?
I'm downright radiant. You may need sunglasses.
I'll get some from the gift shop.
Brilliant! You are a very clever young woman, you know that? You may have a real career ahead of you.
I know, but there's just this tiny little problem.
The apocalypse?
It is pretty inconvenient.
Oh well, at least we have pretzels.
Hey, do you want to watch a movie?